What's up? It's Robert from Existence First, mental training for a modern world. Today is a good day because it's Saturday and I taught skateboarding class and a new student showed up that has the same name as a very famous existentialist philosopher. It was just some little kid had the same name. It's crazy, but shout out to existentialism. Okay, now that that's said and done, let's get on to the real story. The story of oats, quick oats from Whole Foods, which is something that I eat every morning. I bring it to work in a bag like this, and the reason I'm talking about oats is that it's going to explain how first of all, how I perceive the human energy system, and then a new insight that I gained into internal dialogue from this very example. So here's the example. I showed up to work one day this week, looked in my bag because I was getting hungry, and I realized my bag was empty. I had forgotten to pack the oats. And as you might expect, my immediate reaction was something to the effect of, oh man, I forgot my oats, right? Something we would all say to ourselves, but I paused right there to inspect what was happening at the level of energy when I experienced that internal dialogue. In other words, the mind telling me I forgot my oats. Because that's an interesting way to narrate it, right? And I thought, well, is there a different way to narrate it? Because what's really happening, if I say I forgot my oats, what really happens to my mind when I say that? What I observed was that my mind immediately jumped into the past because an image came up of me preparing for work in my apartment, packing my belongings, and forgetting to pack the oats. That was the image that came up in my mind, like the movie clip, right? But it was in the past. It wasn't what was happening in the present moment. So essentially, I pulled myself out of the present moment unnecessarily by uttering this statement, or by my mind telling me I forgot my oats. So I asked myself, is there a different way to narrate what's happening? Could I change my internal dialogue? And here's what I came up with. I came up with this concept of saying, there's no oats in here. There's no oats here. And I liked that one better for this very reason. It kept my energy in the present moment, kept my energy in fact, in the realm of fact and reality, and not in the world of non-fact and non-reality, right? Because what I said to myself, okay, there's no oats here, what I noticed is I immediately went into problem-solving mode, and I started to think, okay, well then where am I going to get the oats, or what am I going to eat instead? Or all of these problem-solving questions just naturally followed from that different narration of the events. Okay? So again, let's use a metaphor. You've got a house with a plumbing system, right? And you can go to any bathroom or kitchen in the house and turn on the water, the faucet, and water comes out. But what happens if you go to one faucet, turn it on, go to another room and turn on that faucet? I'm not a professional plumber, but I would guess that the water pressure coming out of one of those faucets is not going to be as strong if there's water coming out of another faucet. Okay, so if human beings, which people I really don't think understand human beings correctly, we're really energy systems in my perspective. We've got this energy system, right, going on here. And as soon as we have this thought of, oh, I forgot my oats, and this image of something happening an hour ago, boom, immediately a faucet turns on and energy is leaked out of the present moment into the past. Okay. Now the effect of that is that it's going to lower the amount of pressure and force we can exert on the present moment. If you can take all your conscious energy and focus it on the present moment, you can accomplish a whole lot more. That's why we go to concerts. That's why we do all sorts of things, go watch sports games, is to get ourselves focused on the present moment. We don't go to sports games and think, oh yeah, I can't wait to sit in the stadium and worry about what's going to happen next week at the big convention or blah, blah, blah that I have to present at, or, no, we don't. We go there to watch the game and be in the present moment there. So energy leaks could happen not just in the past, but also to the future. If we worry unnecessarily about the future, then we're leaking energy towards the future, and that's going to lower the amount of pressure and force we can exert here in the present moment. So what I liked about this second narration of, there's no oats here, is that it drew me into the present moment. It spurred me into problem solving mode. And and so this whole question of, I like to use the metaphor, especially in the Enter the Mind podcast. If you're not familiar with that, make sure you Google it or search YouTube, Enter the Mind podcast, that I do with my friend Kira. We talk about the mind as like a house, and that just like when you clean a house, you go around, you pick up dirty socks and whatever, you have to clean your mind. And metaphors are all good and great, but they only go so far, because then it begs the question, well, how do you clean the mind, right? This is how you clean it. You change your internal dialogue. You can change the words that you say to yourself, but you can't really change the way those words affect the energy flow. You know what I mean? And this is why in that podcast, early on, we came up with this conveyor belt model of the mind, where you control what you put on the conveyor belt, but then it rolls into the machine, and the machine does what it wants with it, right? Whether you like it or not. You can't take a carrot, put it in a blender or a juicer, and be like, I hope orange juice comes out. I'm just going to use my mind, the powers of my mind, to make orange juice come out. Like, you can't do that. But what you can do is decide, okay, I'm going to put oranges into this juicer because I want orange juice to come out. So you control what you put into the mind, which is the way that you narrate what's going on, the way that you narrate the events, and the framing that you impose on the events that unfold throughout the day. So the assignment from today is to go about monitoring your internal dialogue, the things that your mind says to you to narrate what's going on. And listen and look at those statements, categorize them. Are they statements about the past? Are they statements about the future? Are they statements about what's going on right now? And sort of dissect it, pick it apart, and observe then how that internal dialogue affects your energy flow. If you find yourself making a lot of statements of the past, or statements of what I would call like non-facts, like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, they should have done that, they shouldn't have said that to me. Like, that's all non-facts, because the fact is that they said it to you. So if you find yourself paying attention to non-facts, my guess is that that's going to lead to an energy leak into out of reality and into this non-reality, right? And then the last thing we want is our energy flowing into non-reality, okay? But that's the assignment from today. If this video was helpful, then make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. Think deeply and put your existence first.